At the birthday party, the most handsome guy in our college, who had been chasing me for half a year, confessed his love to me. But as soon as I agreed, a burst of laughter immediately rang out. Amid the laughter, the guy took another girl's hand and said to her, "Delilah, I won. You should accept my confession now, right?" Delilah cast a proud and provocative look at me, then put her arms around the guy's neck, offered her red lips, and kissed him, responding, "I accept you." To make the act look more convincing, I started crying in front of them. Amid their mocking laughter, I secretly put the mobile phone hidden in the corner into my pocket. That scene was perfectly captured, and the faces of the male and female leads were very clear. The next day, the school's confession wall, super topic, and post bar were all dominated by a video, and it even became a hot search on the entertainment list. The title of the video was quite eye-catching. "The scumbag and the bitch insulted a female classmate in public. Here's the truth." Zachary, who had never spoken to me before, suddenly took the initiative to greet me. I was flattered and was stunned for a moment, not responding to him. Zachary was universally recognized as a handsome guy in the college. He had outstanding looks, came from a wealthy family, was the president of the student union, and had countless admirers. As a favored son of heaven, he was quite proud and even a bit arrogant. Every time there was a student union meeting, he would always show up like a superior and scold the junior students. He had his own social circle, which was stable and small. There was a beautiful side in the college that was Zachary and his friends. Every time they went out, it was for boys and to girls. The boys were handsome and the girls were beautiful. They walked with an air of importance, just like big shots on the street. This small group was very stable. Others couldn't get in and they wouldn't come out either. The 4 boys were Zachary and his roommates. As for the 2 girls, they were Delilah and Delilah's best friend. Except that Delilah's best friend wasn't from our college. The other 5 were not only from our college, but also from our class. After he walked away, my roommate excitedly grabbed my sleeve and whispered, "Aha, Kate, and did I hear it right? Zachary actually greeted you." I was equally shocked and nodded, wouldn't lie. It seemed so. I thought that was an accident, and that he might just have done it on a whim. But to my surprise, every time we met after that, he would greet me. What shocked me even more was that he sat next to me in class. Usually only his friends could sit around the seat where he usually sat. When he sat next to me, I sensibly picked up my school bag to give him the seat. But he held my wrist, looked up at me, and said, "You sit here. There's no empty seat anywhere else." I looked around. There was one in the last row, but I had slight myopia and didn't have glasses, so I had to sit down again. Delilah, who was sitting in the first row, looked back at him and then smiled at me. It was so strange. Why were they all suddenly so enthusiastic? During the class, he moved closer to me, looked at my notes, and praised, "Your handwriting is really nice." "Oh, thank you." I moved to the other side. And then I heard his laughter. After class, my roommate and I went to buy milk tea. Zachary's group pushed over. Since they were extremely eye-catching, all the students outside the milk tea shop looked at them in unison. I took out the payment code and said to the boss, "A medium cup of pearl milk tea hot, please." When I was about to scan the codes, Zachary blocked the scanner with his hand, looked down at me, and smiled. "It's on me." Then he turned to my roommate and said, "What would you like to drink? I'll pay for it together." My roommate's face turned red. "Osmond, this wine-flavored milk tea, thank you." I quickly stopped him, "No thanks. I'll pay by myself." The corners of his mouth turned up, and he said kindly, "It's just a cup of milk tea. Don't reject me like this." There were people queuing up behind us, so I had to stop arguing with him. After getting the milk tea, I quickly pulled my roommate and left. When someone shows kindness for no apparent reason, they must have ulterior motives. At nights, Zachary added me on WeChat through the class group. The request message was, "Class committee member, I have something to talk to you about." It should be about the course grouping a couple of days ago. I accepted his friend request. Out of a sense of responsibility, I sent him a message asking, "Hello. May I ask what it is?" After sending the message, I felt it was a bit stiff, so I added a cute team emoji to make myself seem more approachable. After about 10 minutes, he replied to me, "Can't I add you if there's nothing?" I was busy all day. Since there was nothing, there was no need to chat. I turned off my phone and started preparing for the group assignment. My phone kept vibrating. Almost all the messages were from Zachary. He told me for the last grouping, I want to change the members. Considering the other students, I grouped his small group together. On the day of grouping, I also asked that if anyone wanted to change the group, they should discuss it among themselves, and then let me know to make the modification. At that time no one said anything. The list had already been submitted to the teacher. And now he wanted to change it again. Since he wanted to change, I couldn't really refuse, so I had to ask, "How do you want to change it?" "I want to change to your group." "Well, didn't this count as betraying his friends?" I shook my head and replied, "Our group is already full. If you want to change, you need to negotiate with a classmate. If someone is willing, I'll ask the teacher." He replied to me, "I've talked to someone. Chen Dong is willing to change." To be honest, I didn't want to. If he was in our group, the rest of us would feel uncomfortable. But since someone was willing to change, and the teacher also agreed, I had to change the list. Previously, Chen Dong was responsible for the task of presenting on stage. Since he left, Zachary had to be responsible for it. I sent him a message to ask for his opinion, and he agreed quite readily. "Then I'll send you the PPT. If you have any questions, you can ask me." He replied to me, "There's no class tomorrow, which is Saturday. Let's make an appointment at a tea shop outside the school gate and have a trial lecture." Sending messages back and forth is very inefficient. He was right, so I agreed okay. "Then let's meet at the tea shop outside the school gate. Is that okay?" At 9 o'clock in the morning. "Is this time okay?" "Yes, it's okay." The next day I arrived 10 minutes early, went to the private room on the second floor, prepared my computer, and waited for him to come. When I saw him coming with his small group, I got a headache. Delilah smiled and waved at me hi. I smiled back at her and then looked at the computer screen. They sat in the private room next 2 hours. The sound insulation wasn't very good and we could hear the conversation in the next room. They were talking about going to see a movie on Sunday. Chatting and laughing, which was really distracting. I didn't mind much. I was just afraid that Zachary would be affected. He was well prepared and had almost mastered the content. He could give a speech without referring to the script. I happily clapped and praised. "You're really good. Unlike Chen Dong, who couldn't get it right even after a week." He smiled. "If I didn't complete the task smoothly, wouldn't I let you down?" I smiled awkwardly. The trial lecture lasted about 10 minutes and was quickly finished. I packed up my computer and was about to go back to the dormitory when he said he wanted to invite me to dinner. Under the push and pull of the two girls, I was forced to join them. They went to eat hot pot. And I felt out of place. I walked at the back, dragging my heavy steps, complaining to my roommate on WeChat while moaning in my heart. Asher didn't know when he started walking beside me. He said casually, "If you don't want to go, you can just refuse. There's no need to make it hard for yourself." I quickly turned off my phone and looked at him guiltily. "No. I'm happy to have someone treat me to dinner." He didn't say anything and walked slowly beside me. After a while, he said again, "You're not one of us. Getting too close will only make people annoyed." I wasn't unaware of his sarcasm and rejection. But I was quite open-minded. As long as he didn't make personal attacks, I didn't care what he said at all. Everyone has two eyes and one mouth. No one is superior to others in any significant way. When we were eating hot pot, their focus was on me. They seemed to be concerned, but actually, they had an air of superiority, as if this meal was a favor they were doing for me. Whatever. I'll just eat my fill and leave. When I got back to the dormitory, I transferred the money for my share to Zachary. He sent it back to me and was even a bit angry. "What are you doing? You have your ways of dealing with people. And I have my principles. If you don't accept it, then I'll have to ask you not to give the presentation for the assignment." After a few minutes, he accepted my transfer and asked me, "Are you free tomorrow? Let's go to the movies. You can come along too." "Sorry, I'm busy tomorrow." He didn't reply to me after that. After closing the chat box, I heard my roommate pounding on the bed in anger. I climbed onto her bed and asked curiously, "What's wrong? Why are you so angry?" She was wearing a facial mask and moaned, "Caitlin, I can't beat him. Please help me." I took a look and saw that she was angry because of a game. She pulled off the facial mask, agreed lie. Almost on the verge of crying. "I only killed the healer on the opposite side once. And then the swordsman on the opposite side has been chasing and attacking me. I didn't know that was his girlfriend. I took a look at the horrible record. Her combat effectiveness was only 10%, even lower than that of the healer on the opposite side. And she had already been killed twice. If she died one more time, she would be completely out of the game. It was really frustrating. She stuffed her phone into my hands. "Caitlin, please help me." Mia joined a team in the local matchmaking. There happened to be one vacancy. So she joined. But she didn't expect that she would be targeted by her teammates. Except for the swordsman. The other 3 teammates were typing to complain about her. Mia didn't play well, so she didn't dare to fight back. These people successfully aroused my fighting spirit. I took Mia's phone and started to turn the situation around. After I reversed the record, the teammates still wouldn't let it go and said that I was just taking advantage of the situation to steal kills. I was so angry that I laughed. Such teammates really didn't deserve to win. So I deliberately showed my weaknesses and gave points to the opponents crazily. The swordsman saw that I was deliberately giving points and comforted me. "Buddy, play well. Next time, I'll team up with you in duo queue and help you get revenge." I replied indignantly. "You don't deserve it." After successfully losing a game, I felt particularly relieved. To make up for the rank that Mia had dropped, I asked her to log into my alternate account, and I played a few games with her. Just as we were about to start a game, a friend request came. It was actually from the swordsman on our side. He said that he would take Mia for a game as an apology for his teammates. After getting Mia's consent, I added him and then invited him into the game. After winning 3 consecutive games, I gave the account back to Mia and let her play with the swordsman. I quit. Mia followed suit and quit too, saying that the swordsman wanted to add her on WeChat and would take her to play regularly. I looked at her with a sly smile. "Did you agree?" she said shyly. "Oh. He just wants to level up." I turned my head away resentfully and continued reading my literature. In the group assignment presentation class, Zachary didn't show up. 10 minutes after the class started, he sent a message saying that he wasn't feeling well and asked for leave. I held back the urge to curse and sent him a smiling emoji. "Then have a good rest." He sent an emoji showing guilt. "Sorry. I thought I could attend the class smoothly. But as soon as I got to the teaching building, I felt dizzy and had to go to the school clinic." The group chat exploded. And everyone asked what to do. But no one dared to say a bad word about Zachary. I sent a message to comfort everyone. "Don't worry. I'll give the presentation." Fortunately, having fulfilled YFSI, I was the one who made the PPT. So I could handle it. Zachary said in the group chat, "Can you do it?" "Yes, having fulfilled YFSI. Don't worry. I've seen all kinds of situations. It's just a presentation of an assignment. It's a piece of cake for me." When I walked onto the podium, I accidentally made eye contact with Delilah. The look in her eyes was strange. As if she was waiting to see me make a fool of myself. It was really puzzling. I smoothly finished presenting our group's assignment, and there was a round of applause from the audience. Only Delilah looked at me with an unhappy expression. She was still smiling at me just 2 days ago. Why did she act as if I owed her something now? The teacher, who had a good relationship with me, praised our group appreciatively. People in the group chat set off virtual firecrackers. "The group leader is awesome. Great. Our group has been praised. Will we get higher usual scores?" Zachary sent 3 question marks. "What's going on?" Others recorded a video of me and sent it to the group chat. "Everyone should follow the group leader's standard in the future." Zachary echoed. "Amazing. It's good that you were here. Otherwise, I would have felt extremely guilty." Caitlin. I modestly sent a red envelope in the group chat. There was 100 yuan in it. And since there were 5 people, it was just enough for each person to buy a cup of milk tea. Zachary also sent one, with 200 yuan in it, saying it was an apology to everyone. He seemed quite guilty. So I comforted him. "It's okay. It's just one assignment. And you didn't do it on purpose." After everything ended smoothly, I disbanded the group chat. To thank me for helping him, Zachary invited me to drink milk tea. A super large cup of pearl milk tea. "Thank you." He smiled and said, "Don't be so polite with me. It makes us seem distant." I thought to myself that we weren't that familiar in the first place. There was a concert on the playground at night. Zachary dragged me to watch it. His roommate was in the band, and he wanted to cheer them on. The only person from our class in the band was Asher. He was the lead singer. His smoky voice had won him quite a number of fans. And because he was good-looking, he was somewhat of a star in the school. Delilah and her friends were sitting in the inner circle. We couldn't get in, so we had to stand outside and watch. Asher was singing a folk song. With his smoky voice singing a folk song, he was really charming. Although he wasn't easy to get along with, he was indeed talented. He could not only sing but also write songs. The students on the playground turned on the flashlight on their mobile phones and swayed them along with his singing. Zachary grabbed my hand and raised it to sway along too. I pulled my hand back and said uncomfortably, "You enjoy listening. I'm going to find my roommate." After leaving the crowd, I took out a wet wipe from my bag and wiped the hand that he had grabbed. Gradually, rumors spread in the class that Zachary was chasing me. I pretended not to hear them and automatically blocked out their voices. Zachary sat next to me and put a box of chocolates in front of me. He asked me, "Do you believe it?" "Believe what?" I didn't look up. My eyes were fixed on the book, but my mind wasn't on it. He looked at me seriously and said, "That I like you." I gritted my teeth and looked up at him. "It's just a rumor. There's no reason to believe it." He looked at me and smiled. "But I believe it." "Huh?" I asked in surprise. He smiled bitterly. "They're right. I like you." He didn't speak quietly, and people around us could all hear him. I heard waves of gasps. The teacher came in and relieved my embarrassment in time. Although I've never been in a relationship, I know what it's like to like someone. Zachary's attitude towards me had nothing to do with liking at all. Instead, it seemed like deliberate approaching and flattering. Anyway, I couldn't see any sign of liking in his eyes. Since the rumor that he liked me was confirmed by him personally, he started to pursue me vigorously. I clearly rejected him, but he didn't give up. If he wants to chase me, that's fine as long as he doesn't disturb my study. In other people's eyes, Zachary was deeply in love with me and seemed quite determined to marry me. But in my opinion, he was just on a wren and wanted to flirt with me a little. He gave me the latest and expensive bag. I transferred the money to him right away. When he refused to accept it, I blocked him. Out of helplessness, he called me. "Let me out. I'll accept it. Okay?" Anyway, I didn't like that bag, so I simply returned it to him without giving him the money. "I don't like owing you anything, but if I give you the money, I'll have no living expenses left. So you'd better take this bag back." He was stunned by my actions and couldn't say a word for a long time. While he was in a daze, I turned around and left. Zachary's pursuit of me was more like a task. No matter how many times I rejected him, he didn't care and didn't even show any emotional fluctuations. Downstairs in the dormitory, he suddenly appeared and stopped me when I just came back from the library. His nose was red from the cold, and there was a layer of water mist on his eyelashes. I frowned and asked him, "Why are you so frozen?" "Waiting for you." He smiled and then took out a bunch of flowers from behind. "Happy birthday." I looked at the roses and didn't take them. I changed the topic and asked, "How long have you been standing here?" He shrank his face into his scarf. "Almost an hour." "You'd better go back quickly. Be careful not to catch a cold." He forcefully stuffed the flowers into my arms and then smiled awkwardly. "Caitlin, I originally bought you a birthday cake, but I couldn't get in touch with you, so I had to come here and wait. I'll give you the cake on your next birthday." "Thank you, but I don't like celebrating birthdays." He didn't take my tactful rejection to heart and just nodded. "I know." After he left, I looked at the flowers in my arms and sighed with annoyance. Back in the dormitory, Mia asked me for help again. Her Schwartzman brother started to suspect her. He thought she wasn't the same person as the previous mage and asked her if she had hired a substitute to play for her. In order to hold on to the big shot, Mia asked me to play the game for her again. To help Mia keep the big shot, I had to play for her. Mia usually played as a healer. To avoid conflict with other teammates, I had to choose the healer role too. 5 minutes after the game started, the swordsman sent an in-game message asking me not to rush forward and just be responsible for healing him. I was used to playing as a swordsman and always wanted to rush forward. The combat ability of the healer was too weak, and I was really impatient while playing. He got the first blood of the opponent's healer and asked me to pick up the equipment. After picking up the equipment, instead of synthesizing pills, I synthesized a combat equipment. 3 question marks appeared above his head. I replied to him. The pills recover health too slowly. Mainly because they had no lethality. And I was impatient watching it. The mage replied to me. Did you heal like this once? It will consume 30 of your own health bar. It's too risky. I replied again. But it will also consume 5 of the opponent's health. The swordsman returned to the spawn point and stood still. Then Mia's WeChat message popped up. Did you hire a substitute to play for you? I replied to her. No. He said. Today's style is different from your usual one. I said. Usually, healing fulfill one session. I just pretended to be bad at the game to get close to the big shot. Seeing my message, Mia was so ashamed and angry that she almost died. Then she asked me to withdraw the message quickly. I withdrew it. But probably the swordsman had already seen it. A teammate asked me. Healer. Are you a girl? I replied. No. I'm a guy. The swordsman's private message came again. Last time when you played the game and turned on the microphone, it was a female voice. And it sounded like a sweet girl. Did you use a voice changer? I turned to look at Mia. She smiled awkwardly. I just pinched my voice a little bit. After one game, he said that I played well this time. Completely different from before. I replied to him. Not really. It's because you taught me well. Big shot. In the next 2 games, I played as a mage. After the games, he asked in the game again if I was a substitute player. I replied to him. No. My skills are sometimes good and sometimes bad. They just happen to be good today. Oh, really? His words made me feel a bit guilty. So I didn't reply anymore. In the last game, he invited the 2 teammates who had cursed before. There were 4 people in the team. And 1 was still needed. After I logged into the game, Mia invited me to join the team. This time, I was going to teach those 2 noobs a lesson. When the game started, those 2 noobs actually turned on their microphones. Mia and I looked at each other in surprise. Why did the voices sound so familiar? My roommate heard it and said excitedly. Isn't this Delilah? Mia and I didn't turn on our microphones. We listened to the 2 girls in the team talking, and then were quite sure that they were Delilah and her best friend. At the beginning of the game, Delilah and her best friend didn't know how to upgrade their equipment and went to fight with others. After one died and the other gave away a kill, they started to take it out on Mia. Delilah said, Healer. Are you dead? Don't you know to come and heal? I replied for Mia. Is this the powerless roar of the noobs? I beat the 2 heroes on the opposite side to low health but didn't kill them. And I sent a message to Mia in the team. Healer. Come here quickly. There are 2 low health enemies here. I'll give you the kills. 10 minutes after the game started, Delilah and her best friend had already snatched kills for me several times. Every time, because of their stupid actions, the opponents managed to escape successfully. This time, I let them snatch as they liked. They had already died twice. If they died one more time, they would really be useless. Even though the 2 heroes on the opposite side were low on health, they could still counter-kill those 2 noobs. Mia cooperated and replied to me in the team, Coming. Wait for me. Delilah and her best friend really came. 3 seconds later we heard the system message that they had been killed. Delilah turned on her microphone and asked me angrily, Swordsman. Did you do it on purpose? I replied with text, It's because you're too stupid. The game ended and we lost. Mia's swordsman, brother, sent me a message in the team, Brother. Your skills are good. I replied, just so. Delilah's best friend, said Karkafisly, Asher. You're also very good. You're much better than him. Mia opened her big eyes and looked at me. Did I hear it right? She called him Asher? I asked in confusion. You played games with him for so long. Didn't you find out who he was? He never turned on his microphone and only sent text messages to me. I had no way of knowing. Fortunately Mia and I didn't turn on our microphones. Since we lost the game to make up for Mia, I took her to start another game. When the request to join the team message popped up, I almost spat out the water I was drinking. Asher actually wanted to join us. Mia adored Dasher very much. She excitedly pinched my hand and exclaimed, ha 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 ha. It's actually Asher. I've added his alternate account by accident. After Asher was invited into the game, surprisingly, he turned on his microphone even though he hadn't done so before. He said sorry. The two girls in the last game are my friends. They might have spoken a bit too harshly. I apologize to you. Mia turned on her microphone and said in a soft affected voice, it's okay. We're broad-minded and don't bother with rookies. I held back my laughter and gave her a thumbs up. Asher chuckled and said let's start the game. After the game ended, Asher said that he wanted to ask me for a favor and asked to add me on WeChat. I gave him my alternate account. He sent me a message, hello. I replied, what's the matter? I thought he would exchange a few more pleasantries with me. To my surprise, he got straight to the point and asked me, are you a college student? Yes, using fulfilled my education. I am. Then he sent me a link. It was the college league held by Tianji officially. Colleges and universities across the country randomly formed alliances and made up 5 positions. The registration deadline was 1 month later. While I was looking at the link, his message popped up asking me, our team just happens to be short of 1 person. Could I ask you to participate? Although I also like T-sports, and had always wanted to participate in this activity, when I thought about whether Asher would feel tricked if he found out it was me, and then kick me out because he was angry, I replied, I'm not really up to it. I'd better not. I've watched your previous game replays. Your skills are really good. There are even some operations that I can't do. Could you please consider it again? Then he pulled me into a group. There were 5 people in total including me. As soon as I entered, they all sent voice messages in unison to welcome me. I was too embarrassed to click the button to leave the group. Many videos were sent in the group and they were all made by Asher with me as the main character in the games. The others in the group praised me to the skies. I was really impressed by this overdone flattery. Seeing how enthusiastic they were, I was too embarrassed to refuse again, so I had to agree. However, here came the problem. The registration required real name authentication. In this way, Asher, who was the team captain, would know my identity. I was really troubled by this. The next day he sent a message in the group, sorry I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Asher. I'm a junior student at a university in Nanchang. Blank. After he sent it, the others also started sending messages. It turned out that they were all from Nanchang. Since they had sent their introductions, I felt embarrassed to pretend that I didn't see them, so I said, I'm also from Nanchang and I'm a junior this year. This self-introduction was a bit perfunctory, and even I couldn't stand it myself. On New Year's Day nights, Akri invited me to watch a movie. To avoid embarrassment, I asked my roommate to come with me. When we arrived at the entrance of the cinema, I saw Asher, Delilah, and Delilah's best friend. It seemed that I had thought too much. When he invited me to watch a movie, it was just by the way, not on purpose. Zachary walked towards me and smiled, you're here. Let's go in quickly. Thank you. I didn't know if it was a coincidence or intentional, but Zachary and Delilah's seats happened to be numbered 13-14. My roommate sensed something unusual and whispered to me, what does Zachary mean? He's clearly chasing you, but he's sitting in the couple seats with Delilah. I looked at the 2 people in the front row and always felt that something was wrong. I wasn't interested in the romantic movie at all and felt sleepy while watching it. When I was dozing off, my WeChat message rang. I quickly turned off the mute and then opened WeChat. It was a message from Asher. Have you thought it over? If you feel it's difficult, I can find someone else. Don't feel burdened. The guys in the group are easy to talk to. They'll just be a bit sad if you leave. It's no big deal. A bit sad. Just that? At this time, messages from the teen group popped up. Someone sent a red envelope with 500 yuan in it. Messages like blank Happy New Year kept popping up, which made me feel restless. Their enthusiastic retention had become a burden on my mind. Once you're on the pirate ship, it's really not easy to get off. Rather than suffering in the long run, I might as well let Asher, who was the team captain, decide whether I should stay or leave. I'd be less troubled if I told him directly. Asher was right in front of me on my right. Looking at his phone screen, I made up my mind and directly sent him a private message. Asher turned around and looked to the left rear. He stared at the phone screen and was stunned for a moment, then turned around to look behind. I turned my chat interface towards him. The moment he turned around, he stared blankly at my phone and then looked at me. I smiled at him apologetically. He sent me a message. "Are you Caitlin?" I replied, "Yes." "Asher, then who was the one playing Duoku with you?" My roommate Mia." Since you know it's me now, I don't have to be so conflicted. I'll lead the group." "Asher, wait. Do you really not want to participate? But we really want you to join us. Please think about it again, class committee member." Then he added a really cute emoji. I was so surprised that I swallowed hard. Why was it different from what I had thought? Shouldn't he be angry and say that I had deceived him and then kick me out of the group? Zachary beside me seemed to notice the interaction between Asher and me. He slightly leaned towards Asher, trying to look at his phone screen. Asher quickly turned off his phone and then looked at the movie screen. Mia quietly asked me, "Did you agree to him?" "Not yet. Caitlin, Asher is so sincere. You should agree to him. If we win the championship, we can form a team with professional players. If I were you, I would have agreed long ago." The movie lasted nearly 2 hours. When the movie ended, I made a decision. I'll participate. "Asher, thank you." After I agreed to him, he changed the name of the team group to 5 Flowers of Nanchang. I had always focused on my studies. Moreover, as the final exams were approaching, I wouldn't be distracted by other things. Asher thoughtfully sent me a message. "You should prepare well for the final exams. Leave the registration to me. We'll have training sessions during the winter vacation." During the review weeks, Zachary came to find me every day. It was as if he had installed a surveillance camera on me. He could always find me wherever I went. Whenever I was reviewing, he would always bring his books and ask me questions, asking me to explain them to him. As the class committee member, I was too embarrassed to refuse. But after explaining for a long time, I found that he hadn't listened at all. When he wasn't reviewing, he would sit beside me and play with his phone, either playing games or watching dramas. He was just like a person with hyperactivity disorder and couldn't stay quiet for a minute. Thanks to his persistent disruption, I failed the exam miserably. He even said to me, "Caitlin, am I more important, or is studying more important?" I rolled my eyes and said, "Don't you have any self-awareness?" He smiled and said, "I know that in Caitlin's heart, I'm the most important." As expected in this exam, Delilah's GPA was 0.1 higher than mine. Looking at the GPA ranking, I might have guessed the reason why Zachary got close to me. I suppressed my anger and started to deal with Zachary. Since he wanted to play games, I'd play along with him to the end. During the winter vacations, Zachary didn't contact me, and I didn't have the energy to play with him either. The team had training sessions 5 days a week during the winter vacation, with 5 hours of training each day. Asher wrote a set of training plans for each person according to our individual characteristics in playing games. The 5-hour training session was divided into a 3-2 model. 3 hours of collective training and 2 hours of individual training. Asher, as the team captain, called on the team members in the group every day and accompanied them in training. It was really hard work. None of us went home during the vacation and stayed in the dormitory for the convenience of training. Since Asher and I were in the same school, for the convenience of communication, we always made an appointment to meet at the internet CAF near the school whenever we had training sessions. Although I was quite good at playing the swordsman, I played too aggressively and wasn't very stable. After several trials, the team members unanimously thought that I was more suitable for playing the mage. Asher was really versatile and proficient in every profession. To relieve his burden, I spent another 2 hours practicing on my own outside the training time. At 12 o'clock at night, Asher was shown as online. He sent me a message in the game asking me, "Why aren't you asleep yet?" I yawned and replied, "I can't fall asleep. I'm practicing to get a better feel for the game." He invited me to enter the entertainment mode, saying that there would be an event after 12 o'clock at night. We could get rare equipment if we won 2 games. I said with a thick nasal voice, okay." When the task started, players rushed to the mountain temple one after another. The fight lasted for nearly 30 minutes, and my hands were sore. Asher said, "You're so sleepy. Why don't you go to sleep? I sighed and said, since we've already started it would be a pity to give up. Asher chuckled and then changed the topic to me. Do you have anything to do tomorrow? No. Tomorrow is a day off from training. Let's go out and relax. Oh. After the game ended he sent me a WeChat message. I've booked 2 tickets. Let's go skiing tomorrow. I replied, I don't know how to ski. I'm afraid of falling. Asher, don't be afraid. I'll teach you how to ski tomorrow. It's very simple. Okay, see you tomorrow. I, who was always competitive, fell countless times on the ski slope. Asher held my hand and told me not to be overconfident. I pulled my hand back and boasted, if I can't learn it I'll stay here and won't leave. Just after I said that I fell on my butt. Asher pulled me up and smiled. If you fall again I'll have to take you to the hospital. When we came out of the ski slope I was sore all over. Asher was still laughing at me on the side. I thought you were omnipotent. Finally there's something you can't do. I'm not a god. How can I be omnipotent? When we were having dinner Asher hesitated and asked me how far things had gone between Zachary and me. I froze for a moment and a strange thought suddenly popped up in my mind. Was he testing me on behalf of Zachary? I looked up at him and smiled. He's quite interesting. I like him very much. He frowned and said, he's not suitable for you. I raised my eyebrows and smiled. Oh? Why not? Don't you think he and Delilah are a couple? I pretended to be unhappy and said, I don't think so. He wanted to say something but couldn't bring himself to say it, so he just said to me, don't like him or you'll regret it. Judging from what he said he must have known the purpose of Zachary getting close to me. However, out of brotherhood he was too embarrassed to betray Zachary, so he could only remind me like this. I laughed coldly and said, you're not me. How do you know I'll regret it? He seemed a bit angry, and there was some anger in his voice. Caitlin, could you please take my advice? I know my own feelings. I just like Zachary. Is there a problem? Since he didn't want to tell me Zachary's plot, I had to use myself as bait and jump into their trap. At that time it was uncertain who would get hurt. After that Asher and I parted on bad terms. Except for the training sessions, I never communicated with him again. After the new semester began, Zachary came to find me again. I changed my attitude from before and started to cater to his pursuit. In the cafeteria I acted courteously towards him and asked him to feed me. He looked uncomfortable and glanced at other places. I followed his gaze and as expected saw Delilah looking at us. I touched his hand and pouted cautiously. Zachary, I want you to feed me. The disgust in his eyes was quite obvious, but he still fed me a mouthful of fried rice. I suppressed the urge to vomit and praised him. Zachary, you're so nice to me. After being affectionate with him for 2 weeks he finally couldn't hold back and was about to play his big move. He said he would confess his love to me at his birthday party and asked if I would agree. I took his arm and tentatively said, we're already together. There's no need for a public confession, right? He quickly said, no, it has to be a confession. I want to make you the happiest girl. I decided to give him one last chance and asked him seriously, Zachary, do you really like me? The panic in his eyes and his action of touching his nose had already told me the answer. I smiled and put my arms around his waist happily, saying, okay, I know you like me. I agree. I'll accept the confession at the weekend. After getting my affirmative answer he let out a sigh of relief and then pushed me away. I have something to do. You go back first. After saying goodbye to him I sent a message to Asher. Next week is Zachary's birthday. He's going to confess his love to me at his birthday party. Asher's message came back immediately. Did you agree? Of course. It's a very happy thing when the person you like confesses his love to you in public. He sent a message asking me to be rational and not be blinded by love. Looking at his constantly popping up messages I wasn't panicked at all and didn't reply. I also hung up the voice call he sent. Since you guys want to play then let's play well. Outside the villa Asher stopped me. He frowned tightly and asked me not to go in. I quarreled with him. Asher, I like Zachary and he likes me too. On what grounds are you stopping me? He pulled me into the bathroom, closed the bathroom door, casually pinned me against the wall with a tense face and angrily said, Caitlin, why are you so stubborn? Do you have to hit a brick wall before you'll turn back? I played the role of a lovesick person to the extreme, looked at him pitifully, and said, I know I don't fit in with you guys but I don't care. For Zachary's sake I can change. I can give up everything for him. Asher was so angry that he was shaking. He clenched his fist and punched the wall, then lowered his head and said, "Do you like him that much?" "Yes, I like him." "Caitlin Zachary." His words were interrupted by a rapid knock on the door. Zachary shouted angrily, "Asher, what are you doing?" "Caitlin is my girlfriend. Don't bully her." Asher opened the door. After I went out, he pulled Zachary in. The two didn't say anything. Through the door I heard the sound of a fight. Asher angrily asked Zachary, "How could you become like this?" Zachary also said through gritted teeth, "I advise you to mind your own business. After tonight, you can say whatever you want." I stood at the door listening to the drama. After a while, when the door opened, Zachary had blood at the corner of his mouth. He looked at me uneasily and smiled awkwardly. "I thought he was bullying you, so I fought with him." "Oh really?" He nodded and then pulled me away. I looked back at the bathroom. Asher was leaning against the wall, smoking with his head down. Asher's actions once again confirmed my thought that this party tonight must be not simple. At this birthday party, almost all the people who came were from their circle, and there were also some classmates in the class who had a good relationship with them. My roommates and I seemed out of place. On the rooftop of the villa, men and women were eating, drinking, and having fun, indulging in the glamorous night. After singing the birthday song, the lights turned into an ambiguous blue-purple color. Zachary held a bouquet of roses and knelt on one knee in front of me. Amid the envious voices, he confessed his love to me. "Caitlin, be my girlfriend." I took the roses, squeezed out two drops of tears with a moved look, and said, "Okay, I promise you." "Zachary, I like you too." When I agreed, Delilah's roommate and Zachary's friend suddenly burst out laughing. She really agreed. So the so-called high-minded and top student is just like that. I looked at Zachary at a loss and asked him pitifully, "Zachary, what are they talking about?" Zachary sneered and then took out a diamond ring from his pocket. He walked to Delilah, took her hand, and said gently, "Delilah, I won this game. Now you should agree to be my girlfriend, right?" Delilah gave me a smug look and then put the ring on her ring finger. Then she put her arms around Zachary's neck and kissed him passionately. I cried and asked, "Zachary, what's going on here?" He let go of Delilah and looked at me mockingly. "I was just playing with you. Did you take it seriously?" The flowers in my hand fell to the ground and I cried, "No, Zachary, you're lying to me. You like me, right?" Delilah sneered, "His pursuit of you was just a game. You who pretended to be noble are just a hypocritical gold digger. Wanting to be with Zachary without even considering if you're worthy of him." My roommate pulled me behind her and then splashed a bottle of champagne on Zachary and Delilah. Seeing that my roommate was about to fight with Zachary and Delilah's friends, I quickly stopped them and then asked Zachary, "Don't you have a conscience?" He turned his face away, but Delilah stood out and said, "You're the one without self-awareness. The whole class knows that I'm with Zachary, but you still had to stick to him. You made yourself a third party. It has nothing to do with Zachary. Everyone else was just watching the fun and no one was willing to say a word for me. Only my roommate was holding a wine bottle ready to fight. So from the beginning to the end you approached me and deceived my feelings just to hit me, insult me, and make me a complete laughingstock, right?" They didn't say anything and just looked at me mockingly. I picked up the wine and poured it over my head, pretending to be in pain because of being hurt by love, and said to Zachary, "I thought you were sincere to me. It seems that everything was just your trap. I was so stupid to believe your sweet words. Zachary, Delilah, I wish you a happy marriage for 100 years. I ran to one side, squatted on the ground, and cried, and then took the opportunity to pick up my cell phone that I had hidden in a hidden place to take pictures secretly. My roommate pulled me up and hugged me, crying with me. After getting the cell phone, I cried and left the villa. After leaving the villa, I let out a long sigh of relief and then took off the coat that was full of the smell of wine. Asher, who hadn't appeared on the rooftop, suddenly appeared behind me. He put his card on me and looked at me guiltily, saying, "I'm sorry." I sneered and asked him, "So you knew about it too, right?" He lowered his head and didn't answer. The silence had already told me the answer. I laughed at myself and said, "Forget it. It was all my own choice. You advised me, but I insisted on walking into their trap. It's not your fault." I turned around to leave. He quickly grabbed my arm and sincerely apologized to me again, "I'm sorry. I'm really sorry." I turned around and looked at him coldly, "Don't worry. I can clearly distinguish between personal and public matters. I won't quit the team because of this. I'm not." Before he could finish his words, I shook off his hand and turned around and ran away. My roommate was crying even more sadly than me, hugging me and constantly comforting me. I felt sorry for them and said, "It's just acting." I didn't take it seriously. "Why are you so into it?" My roommate looked at me confused. "Oh, Caitlin, what are you talking about? Anyway, I'm okay and I'm in a very good mood. Don't worry. Let's go to KTD to sing. I'll treat you." After I edited that video, I kept the parts I wanted and then asked my friend from another city to anonymously post it online. The next day, the school's confession wall, post bar, and super topic were in an uproar. Due to the large number of people watching the drama, it even became a hot search on the entertainment list. After the video was processed, I became the absolute weak side, or even the one who was bullied on campus. In the video, Delilah, Zachary, and those who knew about it and laughed at me showed their faces, while I only had a back view and the others were mosaic canned. Zachary and Delilah were famous in the college. Some gossip-loving people were quite chivalrous and exposed their information. The online abuse came like a tidal wave, drowning Zachary and Delilah in the flood. This incident caused a big stir. The three of us, the parties involved, were called to the college for a talk. I just cried and didn't say anything. Anyway, it was clearly shown in the video that they were trying to mess with me and I was the victim. To protect the students and its own reputation, the school asked them to publicly apologize to me and then asked me to forgive them to end this matter. Zachary came to talk to me saying that he would apologize and asking me not to make things difficult for Delilah. I looked at him innocently and affectionately. "Zachary, I'm the victim. Don't you feel any sympathy for me at all?" He looked at me with disgust and said impatiently, "What else do you want? Delilah has been scolded so badly. What was my feelings in your eyes? You were the one who approached me in the first place. Now you're blaming me?" He threatened me, "If you don't agree, I'll make it impossible for you to stay in this school. Just try it if you don't believe me." I was so scared. "Zachary, I gave you a chance but you didn't want it." I nodded in fear. "I'll agree. But can I ask you one thing?" Hearing that I was willing to let Delilah off, his tone softened. "What is it?" "When we had the group assignment presentation last time, you deliberately didn't come, right?" He shifted his body guiltily, put his hands in his trouser pockets, and said, "Your group's assignment was excellent. If you were allowed to complete it smoothly, Delilah wouldn't have a chance to shine." I had no choice. "Great." I asked again, "During the final exam review, you also deliberately came to disrupt me, right?" "Yes." I smiled bitterly. "Was it also for Delilah?" "Yes, but it has nothing to do with her. It was my own idea." I clenched my teeth and fists tightly, trying my best to keep calm. Remembering that accident in my sophomore year, I asked him. At the National Award defense meeting in sophomore year, was my defense paper and PPT also destroyed by Delilah? At that time, the only one competing with me was Delilah. However, there was only one quota in the college and my chances of winning were greater than hers. But when I entered the venue, I found that the PPT I had copied onto the desktop had been completely deleted, and my USB flash drive was also missing. Since I was so flustered at that time, I didn't perform well. The teachers thought there was something wrong with my attitude, so they gave the national award to Delilah, who had an excellent performance. I thought everything was just a coincidence, and that I had accidentally lost my USB flash drive. But now I realized that Delilah had been targeting me since then. Perhaps in her mind I was a formidable rival. I admired her ambition, but I despised her despicable means. She didn't hesitate to ask her admirer to seduce me in order to humiliate and attack me. I really couldn't compare with her in such means. Zachary didn't say anything, which was equivalent to acknowledging it by default. I said, "That's all in the past. I don't intend to pursue it. I hope that after this turmoil you won't bother me anymore. After all, we're in the same class. I don't want to make the situation too ugly." He still had a bit of humanity left and showed a trace of guilt. Looking at me, he said, "I apologize to you on Delilah's behalf for that incident. Just tell me how much money you want and I'll compensate you." "No need. You can go now." After he left, I took out my mobile phone from my pocket and turned off the recording button. I didn't process this recording at all and handed it to the college as it was. If the college still wanted to smooth things over, I wouldn't mind making a big fuss about it. Since it's a game, it has to have a beginning and an end. I'm the kind of person who likes to haggle over every detail. Since they've provoked me, they have to pay a heavy price. That night Zachary posted an apology video online. My roommate kept fueling the flames and asked Delilah to apologize too. The school issued a statement saying that the video had been maliciously edited, and that the parties involved had already reached a private settlement. Then they also me and those two bitches. How dare they me? Huh. The two of them were singing in harmony in the comment section and pretending to have a particularly good relationship with me. I directly sent 3 smiling emojis with the words, "Those who understand understand." I didn't say it explicitly. What could the school do to me? Delilah had a certain number of fans on a short video platform. She kept guiding her fans to cyberbully me, saying that I was pretentious, and also implying that I was a green tea bitch who had meddled in her relationship with Zachary. Even more ridiculously, she started a live stream to play the victim, saying that her family was not well off, that she had been studying hard all along, that her grades were among the top, and that she might have the possibility of being recommended for postgraduate studies. She said that what I did was to ruin her future. 1 hour after her live stream started, all my privacy was anonymously exposed. That anonymous whistleblower was actually me. While she was still wiping her tears with a tissue, the comment section had already exploded. The live stream room, which originally had less than 1,000 viewers, suddenly had tens of thousands of people. Waves of curses came one after another in the comment section. The 100 or so people who had cursed me were instantly drowned out by the tens of thousands of people who cursed her. In terms of family background, my father is a professor at a prestigious university, my mother is an national treasure level dancer, and my brother is a well-known writer. Would I compete with her for a man? In terms of grades, my overall GPA ranked first in the major. I've won various awards in competitions and debate contests. Would I be so bored as to want to ruin her future? She regarded me as her imaginary enemy, but I didn't even bother to give her a glance. When my family information was exposed, our class was in an uproar. I, who had always been low-key, was forced to become the envy of everyone. This incident was almost over, but Delilah was good at it. She brought another wave of hatred upon herself. The second wave of cyberbullying hit her again, forcing her to directly cancel her account. The recording I submitted also had results. The 2 incidents broke out at the same time. The school leaders were very angry and decided to give her the punishment of being placed on probation within the school. However, 1 hour after the notice was issued, Zachary came to find me. He stood downstairs in my dormitory and shouted to me, "Caitlin, as long as you let Delilah go, I'll be with you." I walked downstairs casually, unscrewed the mineral water in my hand and poured it over his head. "Are you sober now?" He looked at me furiously. "What do you mean?" Anyway, we were already famous, so I didn't care if someone took pictures. "Zachary, if you don't have a mirror, then I suggest you take a piss and look at yourself. Do you think you're worthy of being with me?" There were many people gathered downstairs. He didn't dare to do anything to me, so he had to leave with a belly full of anger. When it came to being a love-struck fool, no one could compare to Zachary. I could see that Delilah was using him, but he still rushed to please her without hesitation. He brought it upon himself. Who could he blame? Everyone said that Zachary's family had handled the formalities for him to go abroad and asked him to break up with Delilah. Who knew that Delilah cut her wrists? What happened then? I asked Mia. She sneered, "Cut her wrists?" She was just putting on a show of self-harm. As a result, Zachary's mother found out and scolded her severely. After Zachary went abroad, Delilah lost her pride. Even her best friend avoided her, and even stabbed her in the back. Her best friend revealed on the internet that Delilah was the mastermind behind that game. She used Zachary to seduce me, and then tried to induce me to make mistakes and lose the qualification for being recommended for postgraduate studies, so that she could have a smooth career. Mia pounded on the bed again. I'm so angry. That bitch Delilah is so vicious. I touched her head and said, "Don't be angry for someone who has nothing to do with us. Let them fight among themselves. It has nothing to do with us." I opened Tanja and asked Mia to play Duo Q with me. As soon as I logged in, I saw Asher's private message. The time was the day before the rooftop party. "Zachary is lying to you. Everything is a trap. Don't go to the birthday party tomorrow night." Seeing this message, I felt a bit suffocated. Then I opened Asher's WeChat. The last message was still from a month ago. I asked him, "Don't you have a mouth?" Surprisingly, he replied to me instantly, "You're finally willing to talk to me." I took a screenshot of the game private message and sent it to him. Was it so hard to tell me in person? If that didn't work, you could have sent a WeChat message. What's the point of sending it in the game? Do I live in the game 24 hours a day? He replied to me, sorry, I thought you had seen it. Seen it? I hadn't logged into the game since the training ended. We're in the same class. Couldn't he see that I was busy? Because of the rooftop party incident, Mia's idle filter for Asher was completely shattered. In her anger, she sent over 90 messages cursing Asher on his alternate account. She, who usually blushed when talking to Asher, cursed him without blushing or panting. After cursing, she deleted Asher. The college league began. We took 2 weeks off and went to the city where the competition was held. The team had a thrilling but safe journey and entered the semifinals. On the day of the finals, I was so nervous that my hands were shaking. The situation of the others wasn't much better either. After all, we were novice rookies, and we really couldn't pair with professional players. In the match from the semifinals to the finals, we were in the losing group and needed to compete for the third-place trophy. Although Asher was relatively calm halfway through the game, he made an operational mistake and was so nervous that his palms were sweating, which affected his operation. It was a 1-1 draw. The final game would decide the winner. As long as we won, we could get the third-place trophy. In the lounge, everyone's mentality was on the verge of collapsing. Asher was tense, his brows tightly furrowed together, and even his breathing was a bit shaky. The air in the room was stuffy, and the only sound left was the disordered breathing. I held Asher's hand, gave him a firm look, and smiled. It's okay. We're already amazing. Don't be burdened. Asher took a deep breath, stared at me for a long time, and then forced a smile. He stood up and raised his fist. We've prepared for so long. We should believe in ourselves. We encouraged each other and made up our minds. Since we were already here, we had to take a trophy away. The opponent had already figured out Asher's way of playing the swordsman. Although he played steadily, he was too rigid in his style and was easy to be targeted. I made a bold decision. I would play the swordsman. The opponent's swordsman in the last game had already left a psychological shadow on Asher. If he played again, his mentality would really collapse. Although I played aggressively, my playing style was varied and there was no fixed pattern. I liked to surprise the opponent. Even if I couldn't win, I could skillfully maneuver around. Everyone looked at each other and no one dared to make a decision. Finally, Asher said, I believe in Caitlin. The team members also nodded and said, let's go for it. Asher kept looking at the map. Presumably he was worried about me. I smiled and said, Captain, if you get distracted again, we'll really lose. He coughed lightly and said, play steadily. Don't be too aggressive. We changed positions. As expected, the opponent's swordsman was thrown into confusion. Under my unpredictable playing style, I got the first blood from the opponent. This game lasted for nearly 40 minutes. Both sides were already exhausted. It all depended on who could hold on until the end. Amid a sudden burst of cheers, we threw away our mobile phones and started celebrating. The host excitedly shouted, let's congratulate 5 Flowers of Nanchang on their victory. We hugged each other and cried with joy. On the podium, since we needed to take pictures, we took off our masks, which immediately drew a gasp of surprise. A guy in the audience stood up and shouted, it's got us Caitlin. A girl echoed, Sister Yan is awesome. She can deal with green tea bitches and play Tianji well. Asher beside me looked at me and smiled. Now you're really famous. I smiled helplessly. It's all because of life's necessities. 5 Flowers of Nanchang was spotted by the official of Tianji because of our outstanding looks and was asked to be the spokesperson for the college league. The fact that we became the spokespersons for the college league became the new gossip topic for discussion in the school. Gradually, everyone forgot about that absurd farce from before. When people talked about Delilah, they just smiled knowingly and never mentioned her again. After graduating in senior year, I went to graduate school. Asher, with his outstanding looks and rich talent, was signed by an entertainment company and became a popular young actor. Delilah dropped out of school directly because of the pressure of public opinion. I heard that she became a beauty blogger and was making money while being cursed by netizens. She was indeed smart and studied well, but she liked to play Rex too much and finally ruined her own future. My roommates either went on to further their studies or started working. Only Mia still kept in touch with me every day. After I graduated from my 3rd year of graduate school, I met Asher again, because of my brother. At the dinner party, Asher was wearing a black suit and smiled at me. We hadn't seen each other for several years. He had already shed his youthful immaturity and become mature and steady. My brother's new book was going to be made into a TV series and Asher was the lead actor. Fate is really wonderful. After the dinner party, my brother asked me to catch up with Asher. On the road covered with golden dinka leaves, our two shadows were stretched long by the setting sun. Asher stopped and joked, "How long are we going to walk?" I stopped too and turned to face him. "Let's stop here." He nodded dejectedly. "Okay, let's stop here." I turned to leave, but suddenly he held my wrist and asked me, "Caitlin, could you give me a chance?" I smiled and said calmly, "If we hadn't become acquainted because of the game at the beginning, perhaps you would have been an accomplice in that party to Asher. I can stand under the ginkgo tree chatting and laughing with you and be friends with you, but I will never be with you. Do you understand?" There were tears in his eyes. He slowly let go of my hand, moved his lips, and said, "I understand. The autumn scenery is always so sad, and even the air is filled with the smell of sadness." Two people walking further and further away. Two shadows gradually moving apart. There would never be a possibility of intersection again.